This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. The government will be entertaining several overseas experts on fiscal discipline next month as it moves to establish a national fiscal council. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, made the announcement yesterday morning at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston, as he revealed plans by the government to maintain fiscal responsibility after the end of Jamaica's current agreement with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF.
Fiscal councils are permanent, independent, non-partisan institutions staffed by competent, experienced, and technically proficient persons that help to promote economically sustainable fiscal policies across political cycles and that are created by legislation.
He noted that since the global financial crisis of 2008-2009, fiscal councils have proliferated across the globe as countries have sought to implement measures to restore and sustain fiscal credibility.
The establishment of a fiscal council, which can be constructed as an enhancement of the partnership experiments and the partnership models that we have benefited from, offers several advantages.
The minister said that the establishment of Jamaica's first fiscal council, which can be construed as an enhancement of the partnership models already in place, offers several advantages, including fostering greater transparency around fiscal policy by having legislated access to economic data, having sufficient analytical capacity, and by providing unbiased information to the public. Deepening democratic accountability, as policymakers have to maintain credible policies or explain what appear as deviations therefrom. Reducing the political cost of complying with fiscal rules and helping to keep the policy and public policymakers informed and educated. The Supreme Court is scheduled to have the first hearing of a motion filed by the opposition People's National Party, the PNP, to have some of the provisions in the National Identification System Act, NIDS, declared unconstitutional. Julian Robinson, the PNP General Secretary, made the disclosure yesterday morning at a meeting with the senior journalists at the party's headquarters in St. Andrew. Robinson, as well as PNP attorneys Michael Vassiana, Jennifer Housen, Senator Donna Scott Motley, and Senator Sophia Fraser-Binns, reiterated the party's position that it was not opposed to the NIDS. However, the Act contains provisions that the PNP insists infringe on Jamaicans' constitutional right to privacy. Among the offending sections of the Act outlined in the party's fixed date claim form, which names the Attorney General as defendant, are Sections 4, 20, and 41, which the PNP said breach the right to equality before the law, acknowledged by Section 13(3)(g, and guaranteed by Section 13(2) of the Constitution, which deals with the fundamental rights and freedom of Jamaicans.
Section 4 of the Act requires that every person who is a citizen and every person ordinarily resident in Jamaica needs to be registered. And that sounds fair enough. But here is where the discrimination comes in. If it is, and this is an example, you seek to purchase property in Jamaica and you're a Jamaican citizen, and let's say you've left Jamaica 20 years ago, but you retain out of pride and a sense of nationalistic pride to your country, you've kept your Jamaican passport, you are required to register before you could come and purchase property here. However, let's say a foreigner, an American, a British person, not Jamaican, never been to Jamaica, they want to purchase property in Jamaica. They don't need to register through the National Identification System. And that right there shows you that there is a discriminatory approach as it relates to Jamaicans versus non-Jamaicans. So right on your shores, you are being discriminated against. That is what the act does.
Section 39 of the Act, the party said, will give the government power to share the information of Jamaicans with third parties. This, the PMP said, violates citizens' rights to privacy under Section 13(3)(j) of the Constitution. The party said that Section 39 of the NIDS Act also allows for the potential to misuse information. Parliament passed the NIDS Act last December, after which the Governor-General passed it into law. The Ministry of Labour had arranged a conciliation meeting for this morning regarding a sick-out by workers of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. The Jamaica Fire Brigade yesterday denied there was a sick-out by contracted truck drivers and mechanics, even as unions representing the workers confirmed the industrial action triggered by a wage and fringe benefits dispute. The National Workers' Union reported that the workers had started calling in sick about 3 p.m. yesterday. Drivers in Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Mary, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Trelawney, Manchester, St. Anne and St. Elizabeth were involved. A release from the Jamaica Association of Local Government Officers, JALGO, yesterday evening stated that the sick-out stemmed from the inability to settle non-payment of arrears over the 2017-2018 period that were due in March 2018. JALGO said that the contract workers would remain on sick-out pending the outcome of today's meeting. The Press Association of Jamaica, PAJ, has raised concern that the government has held no post-cabinet media briefings since the start of the year and has called for an immediate resumption. PAJ President Dion Jackson Miller said the government seems to have effectively abandoned the briefings, pointing out that the last such briefing was held in November 2017. According to Jackson Miller, this is unacceptable. The PAJ president said she is extremely disappointed at the seemingly cavalier approach to the post-cabinet press briefings. The PAJ said it has also received complaints that government ministers who have attended previous post-cabinet briefings were unable to answer wide-ranging questions from the media. The privilege of carrying a licensed firearm has been taken from a man who pulled his handgun inside the National Commercial Bank in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew last month. In a letter signed by the board of the Firearm Licensing Authority on May 9, 2018, he was informed that his license had been revoked because he was deemed unfit to be entrusted with a firearm. The man is reportedly not upset about his license being revoked, but told the Gleaner that he was unhappy that he had been assaulted by a guard. He insisted that he was pushed and felt threatened when a guard reached for his waist. In regional news, we look to Guyana, where former Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh and former head of the National Industrial and Commercial Investments Limited privatization unit, Winston Brassington, were yesterday adamant that their hands were clean after appearing in court charged with 3 counts of each of misconduct in public office. The two went before the Chief Magistrate, Anne McLennan, and were each granted $6 million bail as supporters and officials of the People's Progressive Party, under whose administration they had their positions, protested outside the court. A team of 8 attorneys represented the duo in the matter that stems from the sale of 3 plots of government land back in 2011. They are also accused of selling 103 acres of state land by an agreement of sale and purchase to National Hardware Guyana Limited for $2.9 million without first procuring a valuation. The two are scheduled to reappear in court on June 5. In sports, Jamaica's senior reggae girls are set to square off against Martinique in the second CONCACAF Caribbean Women's Group B World Cup qualifying game at Stade Silvio Catta in Haiti today. Game time is 3 p.m. The Jamaicans currently lead the four-team table with 3 points and a very healthy goal difference, and another blowout victory would put them in a fairly good place to secure the lone qualifying spot from the group to the final round scheduled for August 25 to September 2. But hosts Haiti, who occupy a second position and also 3 points following their 2-0 victory over Martinique, are expected to keep a close watch as they face Guadeloupe in the late contest at 6:30 p.m. The top 3 finishers of the final round would then qualify for the 2018 CONCACAF Women's Championship, where they will vie for a spot in the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup to be staged in France. And that's the news. Do stay with us. The weather report is next. This is PBCJ's weather report. Thanks so much for staying with us. Let's start with our local currents. In Kingston this afternoon, we're seeing a temperature just about 29 degrees Celsius, but that's set to go down to about 24 degrees Celsius this evening as the sun sets at 6:33 p.m. We're seeing a forecast of sunny skies with a bit of cloudy conditions in certain areas in Kingston for today. Let's take a look at what's happening over there in Montego Bay, St. James. We could be getting scattered showers with warm temperatures between 23 and 29 throughout the day and a cool temperature at 13 degrees Celsius forecast for this evening. We're also seeing a forecast of scattered showers going into tonight in Montego Bay. Across the islands today, though, we're expecting temperatures between 29 and 32 degrees Celsius, and we're seeing a forecast of rainfall for several parishes over there in Portland, St. Anne, St. James. We're seeing rainfall as well over there in Clarendon. Sunny skies are forecast for Black River with a high temperature 32 degrees Celsius, cloudy conditions in certain areas as well. In our forecast for tomorrow, we're seeing temperatures between 29 and 32 degrees Celsius. We're also seeing a possibility of rainfall in the western end of the island. Could be getting some cloudy conditions over there in St. Thomas. Should be sunny skies for Kingston, and in St. Anne and over there in Portland, we're looking at sunny skies and some cloudy conditions in Black River. In our forecast for today, those of us who are traveling to parts of the Caribbean, we're seeing temperatures between 27 and 31 degrees Celsius. We're seeing a forecast of rainfall in several countries across the Caribbean. Rainfall forecast for Grenada, over there in the Bahamas, and in Cuba as well. We're looking at sunny skies for Antigua and cloudy conditions in Campeche, Mexico. In our forecast for tomorrow, though, we're seeing warm temperatures between 26 and 31 degrees Celsius. We could be getting some rainfall in the western end of the Caribbean. Sunny skies forecast for Antigua. And further afield in the United States, we're looking at the areas Los Angeles, Miami, New York, and Atlanta. We're seeing rainfall forecast for New York and Los Angeles. Sunny skies forecast for Miami and Atlanta, with a bit of cloudy conditions as well. When we're looking at the temperatures, we're seeing low temperature 9 degrees Celsius with a high 31 degrees Celsius for these areas. Los Angeles is scoring the highest forecast temperature for tomorrow. And that's it for the weather forecast and the news here on PBCJ. Remember, we are the People's Station.